What's going on, family? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Another day where I'm just trying to hold strong. You know what I mean? At work, you know, we've been born in this system, in this what some people like to call slave system. But you know, even God, you know what I'm saying, came down to the flesh and made himself a servant for all mankind to set the example for all mankind to become sons and daughters of God. That's amazing. You know what I'm saying? And to follow in that footstep, you should know it's going to be very hard for a rich man to enter into his kingdom, into his salvation, because it's like a camel going into the eye of a needle for a rich man. You know what I'm saying? Because this world don't have too much to offer, but since we've been born, this world is all we know. You know what I'm saying? So the spirit just testifies that, you know what I'm saying, there's more to this world. It's more to this world. Science testifies there's more to this world. You know what I'm saying? You know, the world wants to put that gravity on you to get you grounded and focused on things of this world. It wants you to stay down. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't want you to evolve your wings. It doesn't want you to grow your wings, to evolve into a being with wings. It doesn't want you to evolve into a being with wings. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't want you to go to that metamorphosis phase, like a butterfly with wings, a being with wings. You know what I'm saying? So it wants to keep you grounded by gravity with this world. You know what I'm saying? But you got to keep your head up. You got to keep your head up. You got to keep your mind on heavenly things. You know what I'm saying? And you got to get rid of that darkness inside your heart, the trauma. Not just the trauma in your childhood, not just the trauma before the program, but the trauma from the program that they do on a consistent basis. Because the trick of it is, you know what I'm saying? Even if you don't react, if you're still bitter and miserable and towards how people treat you, and you're bitter and miserable, you know what I'm saying? You're still in the same boat. You're still walking the path that they're walking. You're just not wilding out. You know what I'm saying? But you're still walking in the path that they walk in if you have bitter and misery in your heart. You have to relieve yourself, you know what I'm saying? And you have to keep going. You know what I mean? You got to be thankful, because guess what? You woke up today. If you watching this video, you woke up today. You blessed, you got breath, you know what I'm saying? You can walk, you can talk, you can comprehend. That's a blessing. You got the able body to work, you know what I'm saying? Don't focus on the negative stuff like, oh man, gotta go to work, gotta deal with this, gotta deal with that. You just gotta push on through it. You know what I'm saying? God set the example. And since we're in this program, you know, let your yeses be yes and let your no's be no. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Is you with God? Are you not? You know what I mean? Because there's only so much that you can do. You know what I mean? Your own human ability is only so much that you can do. You know what I mean? You need God, you know, for protection, because the enemy is attacking in all type of ways that we can't control. You know what I'm saying? We have to eat. You know what I mean? We're not growing crop out of the ground. You know what I'm saying? And even if we do grow crop out of the ground, there's all type of toxins and poison in the air, all type of, could be nanoparticles in the air. These are uncontrollable things that God already foreseen. God knows the end. God knows the beginning. This is not mankind surpassing God. All these things was designed to happen. You know, and Daniel, it says knowledge will increase. You know, in the last days, knowledge will increase. We're living in the days where knowledge is increased. Everything is techie savvy, and the enemy think he's having his way. You know what I'm saying? But the enemy knows he has a short time on this earth and just trying to delay the inevitable, delay the judgment, and try to prevent God's chosen ones from, you know, sticking with God and walking that path with God. You know what I'm saying? By being distracted by various things of this world that keeps you from growing your wings. You know what I'm saying? God's people are going to grow their wings. You know what I mean? There's a glorious kingdom in the kingdom of heaven, unimaginable. These are things we can't even, it's inexpressible. You know what I'm saying? Apostle Paul said it's inexpressible. He was blessed to see a fourth of heaven. God allowed Apostle Paul to see a fourth of heaven, just a piece of heaven. And to him, it was inexpressible. It's things that he just couldn't explain. You know what I mean? For our feeble minds, we can't even comprehend the glorious of what's created outside of this earth, the glory that's waiting for people who endure and who's patient towards God. And I'm a sinner. And I'm walking my path, and, every day I got to pick up my cross. You know what I'm saying? We all have to carry our burdens and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And be a light for others. You know what I'm saying? Because if we bitter and miserable, people can't see our light. They'll see just the darkness. You know what I mean? Even if, you know what I'm saying, we ain't doing nothing wrong, we just minding our business and stuff like that, we still got to share our light. We still got to share our testimony and experiences for people who's walking in our shoes, or not walking in our shoes, but people who's went through similar experiences that we went through. You know what I'm saying? And it might be people outside of this program. It's not just, we just special, you know what I'm saying, people. It's people that is special too, that's not in the gang stalking program. I believe that. I believe there's chosen people outside of the gang stalking program, you know what I'm saying? Outside of the overt, obvious, they live normal lives and live normal, but they're chosen too. You know what I'm saying? So they're not going to understand gang stalking like we understand. You know what I'm saying? You just got to hit on topics that doesn't just revolve around targeting and stuff, and help and build people with the knowledge that you have. That's a gift. We all have a gift. You know what I'm saying? God has all blessed people with some type of talent or gift. You know what I mean? And you got to find that you can't have comparison and contrast to what other people, this person way better, you know what I mean? But you got Satan's children too. And yeah, Satan's children, Satan, they recruiting. You know what I'm saying? You can give self-glory. You can use your talent for self-glory and be idolized in this world, or be, you know what I mean, a puppet for Satan. Or, you know what I'm saying, you can use your talents and your gift to display God's glory. You know what I'm saying? To just show the good news of how God delivered you out of darkness. You know what I'm saying? And how they can be delivered too out of darkness. You know what I'm saying? And not be misled and manipulated by crafty words of people who seem like holy people. You know what I'm saying? You just have to have the discernment. You know what I mean? Because like I said, people can talk the talk, but their actions and their moves and stuff like that, is that a action or a move that's leading people to God, or is that an action or a move that's separating people from God? You know what I'm saying? So I got to humbly make sure that my actions and moves is not separating people from God, because it's not about what you do in the public. It's about what you do behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? And especially being in this program, they got a close eye on you and everything you do anyway. And, majority of the things is orchestrated. Sometimes there is genuine experiences, but majority of it is artificial, orchestrated. You know what I'm saying? That's not a life you want to live. You don't want to live a life where you're participating in a club or a group where you're leading people to suicide. You know what I'm saying? Just so you can get temporary pleasures. You know what I mean? People will do anything for these. People will do anything for these pleasures. You know what I'm saying? They'll do anything get some pleasure and stuff like that. Because, been programmed. Oh, this is what I want. Oh, man. You know what I mean? To give me a nice, beautiful honey trap, or give me a nice house, give me some nice cars. I don't have to work like God's people work, or people in the world that's suffering, look like they suffering. You got to go through suffering too, because you got to do what these people tell you to do. You know what I'm saying? You got to do your service. You You got to do things that you don't want to do to get temporary desires and pleasure. What lifestyle is that? You know what I'm saying? And for people that's not even part of this program, outside of that, what lifestyle is just to go through a path of suffering and then at the you know what I mean, at the end, suffer for eternity. You know what I'm saying? That's miserable. You know what I mean? That's a tragic, you know? Why not suffer for God? You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna suffer for God. You know what I mean? Displaying God's glory. It's not a competition or anything or nothing like that. It's just a thing of God knows your heart. And if you tried your best and you try your best to display God's glory and God's love and what God is doing for you in your life and how he's protected you out of uncontrollable situations where if you didn't have God's protection, you would be dead. If you didn't have God's protection, you would have been out of here. So you living and still making it through this program shows that God is with you. He's protecting you. You know what I'm saying? Or he's giving you time. He's giving you time to repent. You know what I mean? That means he sees your heart. You know what I mean? Because yeah, it is true that even people who do wickedness, their lives seem like it's prolonged. People who do wickedness, their lives are prolonged. You know what I mean? But we don't understand God's plan. We don't know people's experience. So it's like, don't hate the person, hate their wicked deeds, because we never know that person may find God. You know what I mean? It's a reason why they're living happy lives, it seems, and the grass seems greener on the other side, and you're like, oh, I'm doing all this for God, but why God is treating me like this? And then these people have long lives, or why do the good people die young? We don't understand God's divine plan. You know what I'm saying? It's unfathomable. It's inexpressible. You know what I'm saying? We can only express it the best way our feeble minds can. You know what I mean? And with that being said, just focus on God. I got to go back to work. Peace, family.